A fired-up former Governor Steve Beshear in Frankfort today, directly responding to allegations made by current Governor Matt Bevin.
He reached for the gun again, and then that's when some more people jumped in.
A DJ at a Lexington bar describes how he took down an armed man who was trying to make off with his tip money.
This is WKYT News at Noon.
Good afternoon from WKYT News. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Barbara Bailey. Former Kentucky Governor Steve Beshear is defending his administration and his family against allegations made earlier this month by current Governor Matt Bevin. Beshear held a news conference in Frankfort this morning where he called Bevin a bully.
A lot of tough talk. WKYT's Hillary Thornton is live in Frankfort with the reaction this midday, and that is our top story at noon. Hillary.
Good afternoon, and that is right. Former Governor Steve Beshear did not hold back anything at his news conference here in Frankfort this morning, saying Governor Bevin has declared war on both his family and his administration, even going as far as calling the current governor a bully.
He has bullied our universities, he has bullied you in the media, and he has bullied organizations that rely on state funding. But he's not going to get away with bullying me. Unfortunately, it's the families of Kentucky who suffer most because they deserve better than this.
Now, the former governor says many people advised him to just stay quiet and let the accusations made by Bevin roll off. However, as you just heard today, Beshear directly addressing the allegations and criticisms made by Bevin. Beshear speaking to the media for about an hour, taking dozens of questions, strongly denying Bevin's allegations of misconduct and criticism of his administration, saying he is proud of his 8 years in office.
And when you agree with him, everything is just fine. But when you disagree with him, he comes after you with a vengeance. That's just the way it is. And he's coming after us. And the only way I know to deal with a person like that, other than being a punching bag, which I'm not going to be, the only way to deal with him is that every time he throws a falsehood at me, I'm going to hit him between the eyes with the truth about him.
When asked what the next step for him in this battle is, former Governor Beshear said he simply hopes it stops, but as long as these accusations continue, he says he will keep fighting back. For now, live in Frankfort, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
Thank you, Hillary. And just minutes ago, Governor Bevin's office released a statement responding to Beshear's allegations. WKYT's Sean Moody continues our top story team coverage from the live desk with the governor's statement. Sean?
Hey there, Bob. This happened just in the past 5 minutes or so. We got a response from Governor Matt Bevin's office. The governor himself is out of town this week on an economic development trip in Europe. Now, in that statement, Bevin Communications Director Jessica Ditto said, quote, after a top-level appointment of both him and his son pleaded guilty to federal bribery last week, former Governor Beshear is merely trying to protect what is left of his legacy. Every wild, baseless accusation he has attempted to levy is not corroborated by any facts whatsoever, end quote. Ditto also said, quote, Governor Bevin is focused on the job the people of Kentucky elected him to do, which is to restore fiscal responsibility and create economic opportunity. He will let the investigation take its course and has said all he intends to say about this matter, end quote. Now, we will, of course, stay on top of this story throughout the day, and we'll have more online at WKYT.com. At the live desk, Sean Moody, WKYT.
Sean, thank you. Bevin has asked the Finance and Administration Cabinet to issue a request for a proposal for an investigation and report by an attorney or law firm with experience in investigating activities and contracts.
Another day of showers and storms in the Bluegrass. The best chance is coming in the evening, and overnight hours once again. They could be tough. Some could be severe. WKYT meteorologist Jim Caldwell now tracking the threat on our first alert defender. Jim.
And we are tracking plenty of action showing up, especially south of Lexington at this point. Rounds of heavier rain, not true thunderstorms going up, at least at this point, but you can see the position of where a frontal boundary is located. You see those showers and storms that we have hovering just to our south? These thunderstorms that you see are right there, kind of draped along the boundary, and that's going to continue to work its way northward, bringing more showers and storms eventually into Lexington. Some of those, especially later on this evening, on the stronger side. Just plain old heavy rain falling from London to Manchester, back into parts of Jackson County. today. We expand our view, and you can see some of that even goes all the way down to the Virginia state line here with heavier rounds of rain. And on the big picture, we've got plenty of moisture associated with that swirl in the atmosphere that will continue to feed into our area as we head through the rest of the evening. That is where we could run into some of those stronger storms, guys. Now, coming up in a few minutes, I'm going to break it down with a high-resolution, hour-by-hour radar picture that takes you all the way through the evening, and we track those thunderstorms.
All right, Jimmy, thank you. A robbery suspect who was tackled by employees in a Lexington bar is behind bars this midday. Police say Dorian Webb stole money from a tip jar at Max Karaoke on Lane Allen Road just before 3 o'clock this morning. WKYT's Mark Barber has more on how employees were able to fight back. Mark?
Employees here at Max Karaoke Bar on Lane Allen Road describe the spot as a hole in the wall that quietly stays away from drama. While they say they don't have to take care of rowdy customers here, this morning they say they did take down an armed man who was trying to steal from them.
It's a chill spot. There's not a lot of drama that happens.
Police say the calm turned to chaos after this man, Dorian Webb, walked into the bar.
Once I saw the weapon pulled from his waistband, I knew right then and there that this could not end well.
Officers say the 41-year-old appeared to be drunk when he started pocketing money from the DJ's tip jar.
I approached several of the patrons and told them to exit the premises, got them outside.
After they got a pregnant woman to safety, a bartender started talking the armed man down.
Kept on following him, waiting until the gun was put away good enough, and then that's when I went for it.
The DJ says he tackled Webb and with the help of a few customers held him until police arrested him. While these men diffused a dangerous situation, they don't want any credit for catching this suspected crook.
Our prior military experience kicked in and we did what we had to do.
I searched through court records and found that Webb has been in and out of the Fayette County Detention Center over the past 7 years. He's been jailed for assault, harassment, and the possession of drugs. He's there again now, facing his latest charge of first-degree robbery. In Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Now, Webb will appear in court tomorrow. He does not want to talk about the case from jail. An arrest has been made in the case of a Louisville toddler who died in a hot car. Jacqueline Thomas is charged with second-degree manslaughter. She's the owner of the daycare that was in charge of 2-year-old Levante Swain. He was found dead in a daycare SUV last week outside a Louisville elementary school. Right now, we don't know if Thomas was the driver, and if not, if that driver will be charged. Coach Matthew Mitchell is finally addressing the turmoil surrounding the UK Hoops program.
He went on Kentucky Sports Radio this morning and was grilled by the host, Matt Jones, as to why 11 people associated with the team have jumped ship. Our Dave Baker is here with more on Mitchell's reaction. Dave.
Guys, because Matthew Mitchell is such a charismatic personality and because he's so ingrained in the community, fans have been more than a little interested in what exactly is going on with the UK women's basketball program. In the last 12 months, a number of players have left the program, some in preseason, some during the season, and some since the end of the year. And most recently, 3 coaches and 2 committees have left who have now decommitted. A short time ago, Mitchell on Kentucky Sports Radio said there's no simple reason.
I am in this business that people call a business. I am in it to help people become their best. And so the 3 players before the season, if you're trying to, listen, I think it's great if you want to say 11 people have left and try to put it all into one sentence and you want one answer for that. That's not reality. And if that's what you want, that you're not going to get that. If people want one simple answer in 140 characters of what's going on, these are people's lives that are going on.
More from the Kentucky coach is coming up in sports. And again, Matthew Mitchell will meet with the media over at Memorial Coliseum at 1:30. That is coming up a bit later as well, guys.
All right, Buzz, you're right, and we will be airing Matthew Mitchell's news conference live on the CW Lexington. That is scheduled to start at 1:30 this afternoon, so if you want to see that, it will be available for you live. All right, he sang the national anthem at the UK game back in January, and now we know when the pride of Harlan, Jordan Smith, will be coming back to Lexington.
The Herald Leader reports Smith has been tapped by the Troubadour Concert Series to perform at the Lyric Theater in June, and this will be Smith's first concert in Lexington since winning Season 9 of The Voice. Ticket information for the June 16th show has not yet been released. Well, Johnson County native and Grammy winner Chris Stapleton has been silenced. He called off last night's sold-out show in Santa Barbara, California because of vocal problems. Stapleton released a statement on Instagram saying he was torn up about having to postpone the concert, but he's seen a doctor and he plans to make up the date as soon as possible. He's scheduled to play Los Angeles tonight.
Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton solidify their leads in their races for the respective nominations while their rivals fall further behind. We'll have the latest from the campaign trail coming up on Kentucky's #1 Midday News.
Also ahead, it looks like Prince's estate may be up for grabs. We'll have the latest on a legal battle that could be brewing over his assets next on WKYT. Welcome back to WKYT News at noon. Tuesday night was a big night for Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton.
The two candidates cemented their status as the front runners for their party's presidential nominations. Craig Boswell has the latest from the campaign trail.
I consider myself the presumptive nominee, absolutely.
Donald Trump says the race is over. The businessman scored larger than expected victories in the 5 states that voted Tuesday. Trump is now on target to win the nomination before the convention, something Ted Cruz and John Kasich can't do. Cruz says he's not going anywhere.
Washington and New York want this general election to be between two rich, liberal New Yorkers who agree on virtually every issue.
Trump is already trying to sound more presidential with a speech focusing on foreign policy, but his message may be overshadowed by a political taunt aimed at Hillary Clinton.
If Hillary Clinton were a man, I don't think she'd get 5% of the vote. The only thing she's got going is the woman's card, and the beautiful thing is women don't like her.
Well, if fighting for women's health care and paid family leave and equal pay is playing the woman card, then deal me in.
Clinton won 4 out of 5 states Tuesday and now needs just 18% of the remaining delegates to lock up the nomination.
Whether you support Senator Sanders or you support me, there's much more that unites us than divides us.
But Clinton and Trump may be jumping the gun a little. Neither has clinched the nomination yet, and the fight now moves to Indiana, which votes next Tuesday. Craig Boswell, CBS News, Washington.
Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, and Bernie Sanders will all be campaigning in Indiana today. Time magazine has revealed its 100 most influential figures in the world, and it includes 4 presidential candidates: Clinton, Sanders, Trump, and Cruz, along with German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Oscar winner Leonardo DiCaprio is featured on one of several magazine covers as one of the honorees as the top entertainer. Melissa McCarthy, Nicki Minaj, and Adele also made that list. You can find the complete list at time.com. Well, the death of Prince is setting the stage for a big court fight, it looks like, over the pop icon's assets.
His sister, Tika Nelson, filed court documents in Minnesota stating Prince did not have a will and requesting that she be made the special administrator of his estate. The court documents also list 6 half-siblings as equal heirs. Prince's total assets are not known, but his reported net worth, including his Paisley Park property, is an estimated $300 million. And his music catalog, which includes an unpublished recording with Miles Davis, could be worth hundreds of millions more.
They say what happens downtown impacts the region. Developers met today with an update on projects happening downtown.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Jim Caldwell.
Once again, we're tracking rounds of showers and some thunderstorms across parts of Kentucky. Yesterday, they got a little strong and even severe in certain sections of the Commonwealth. Today, they could do the same. I don't think it comes from this particular batch that we have out here. What this batch is doing, though, is continuing to bring more and more water to soaked areas. It picked up a lot of rain yesterday, and by a lot, an inch or better in a short amount of time. You're already seeing maybe some mud puddles, and you're seeing some other standing water. While that's not a big issue, that just shows you that the ground is pretty full to give that ability to have some standing water. So you throw in a little bit more and we could run into some high water issues before it's all said and done, because we've got even more making its way into the area. We'll flip it into live mode and show you some of the heavier pockets that are still showing up to our south and east. And you can see from Lee, Owsley County into Clay County and parts of Laurel County. The strongest area is west of Lexington, and will continue to lift toward the north before it rides completely through the area, and we get in on the other batch of showers and storms that come rolling in. This is a more intense area, and we can see how intense when you put it into 3D mode. You see how the higher these thunderstorms are closer to Louisville? That shows us these thunderstorms are a little more intense, and the ones that are generally popping up, just general heavier showers into central Kentucky, are a little bit lower. That gives us the indication that those don't have quite as much bite associated with them. Slight risk of severe weather showing up out to our west, as we'll likely see more thunderstorms fill into this zone and then spill over into parts of central Kentucky here later today. We've got the marginal risk already in place. We started out yesterday with the marginal risk as well. Keep that in mind. And then those thunderstorms came through. While it wasn't a major severe weather outbreak, we did have some decent storms and likely run into more with strong winds and large hail potential again. This time of year, it's easy to get in on some of the larger hail. Here's our hour-by-hour run, almost right on cue with where those thunderstorms are at the moment. Watch them lift through, and then see that development where we start breaking out into a little more warm and moist air. It will then fire off more thunderstorms. Those will come at us as well. And eventually what we could run into is an actual line developing out to our west. It'll try to come together and then sweep through western Kentucky and on into central Kentucky as well. You can see that there, a little bit of organization, even trying to suggest there's a Boeing segment to that, meaning that there's some pretty strong winds driving that complex of thunderstorms that will eventually get in here. We're at 10 o'clock there, so getting in here a little bit later on tonight and then rolling through again with heavy rain. So as we break down our storm threat, high winds, of course, a concern. Hail is even higher because it's so easy to get that this time of year. We've got a lower atmospheric ceiling, so to speak, so it's easier to get in on development of ice. Flooding also a concern with this round. We keep that tornadic threat on the lower side as we head through the rest of the afternoon and the evening. 7-day forecast gives us a break on Friday, but we get into the weekend and we're talking about another system. This system, guys, could even tap into some significantly cooler air. As you see, we're in the 60s and maybe low 60s by Tuesday. A cooler week leading up to the Derby.
All right, and we'll just see about the Derby, right?
Yeah, everything coming at us, yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you. Hope you'll stay with us now on WKYT News for a look at sports. It's a busy day ahead, and a familiar face is coming back to the Bluegrass.
Also, Matthew Mitchell responds to team turmoil with the UK women's team.
And we'll check stocks as we head into afternoon. It's Mick at midday.
As we told you earlier in the show, Matthew Mitchell addressing the turmoil that has gone on within the UK women's program this morning. Mitchell appeared on Kentucky Sports Radio and said while it was ultimately his responsibility, that he didn't believe this was a systematic problem with the program.
It's not a coincidence. It is making sure that we are clear with how we are going forward and what this program is going to be about. And we obviously on the front end with some of the players, they got into a situation where they did not want to be here. We had more players who wanted to be here than players who wanted to leave.
One thing that Mitchell believes will help stability is the return of assistant coach Kyra Elsie. Mitchell confirming that Elsie's returning this morning. She was a star at Oldham County. She left UK back in 2012 when she was Kentucky's recruiting coordinator to go join the Tennessee staff when Pat Summitt was still coaching. That's, of course, where she played. Elsie was an assistant coach for the Lady Vols until 3 weeks ago when she left the program. Since the end of the season, Matthew Mitchell has lost coaches Adenini Amadou and Tamika Williams-Jeter. This morning it was also announced that former Harrison County star Cameron Whitaker had decided not to return to the staff as well. Again, Mitchell will hold a news conference at Memorial Coliseum, 1:30. We will broadcast it live on the CW Lexington. Much more coming up on that a little bit later. But for now, guys, let's look at sports on this Wednesday.
Right, that should be interesting, and we thank you very much. And there's a lot more coming up in the next half hour here of WKYT News at noon.
Coming up at 12:30, we will have more on the growing battle between former Governor Steve Beshear and current Governor Matt Bevin, as today Governor Beshear saying Governor Bevin has declared a war on both his family and his administration.
Tonight's Powerball jackpot, $282 million, and Friday night's Mega Millions jackpot is $118 million.